Okay, first of all, I want to say that when you explain about psychology, I can see the passion in your eyes, and you really are interested in psychology. So I wonder, what kind of person do you think suitable to study psychology? This question is especially very suitable for high school students. But I want to ask about it to you. What is your opinion about it?
Sure. Firstly, I think it's really important to listen people well. So just listen well. Yeah, like you don't have
Listen,
to say
yeah.
something. Just listen and we have eye contact. It's really important. So if you really like to interact with people, and it's also important. Like if you don't want to interact with people, if you don't want to talk to people, it's not an option for you.
It's not ideal.
Like it's really, you kind of have to. Because we work with people. As engineers, you work with the machines, right?
Yes.
Or any other things,
Yes.
like concrete things.
Yes, that thing.
But we deal with people, so it's really important to understand them, like help them, and listen them. It's really important. So if you if you love to interact with people, it's a great option. And also, if you like to read, if you like to research, if you like to write something, it's also a great option. You don't have to have skill for maths or anything else, but you have literacy skills, especially writing and of course reading. Because in psychology literature, you can encounter many studies, and it's all about huge pages. So you have to read them to be informed about the psychology itself, actually. So we read a lot, and we also wrote a lot in the 5-year timeline. So you kind of have to to continue your study, actually. Apart from research is an important part, I guess. You have to research the thing you are curious about. So maybe you can be a curious person also, because and at the beginning, actually, I was also, we talk about the reasons of myself in choosing psychology, which were explore myself, help people. But also I was curious about human behavior, like how they act when it happens, etc. So if you wanna learn the mystery of people behavior, it's a great fit for you. And it's kind of like that, I guess. If you want to help people, and also it's a great option, of course.
Okay.
If you help people through the interaction, especially for clinical psychology, of course. If you want to be a therapist, it's a must skill that you are good at human interaction. It's important.
So I think one thing that catch me, actually, in my personal opinion as well, like you said, we need to be good at interacting with people, right? Like if I think about myself, I think I can be I can have a good interaction with people that I close with. But if it is a new people, or let's say I need to visit someone and ask for help, I have this hesitation in my mind, and I wonder whether you have this same feeling as well, or since you already did this for many times, in the end you understand. Not understand. In the end you, how can I say? In the end you are good at it. I mean, you can counteract this hesitation.
I see.
What do you think?
I think it is not about just studying psychology. Yeah, studying psychology gives you that skill maybe, but if you are eager to give that skill, so you can study psychology, but you can be an introvert also. Yeah, okay. It will be better to interact with people in a way, but it's not a must. I mean, as I said, you can be an introvert, so you can, for example, study neuropsychology. Like it's all about the brain, neurons, etc. So you don't have to interact with people a lot in that field.
Depend on the branches as well. Depend on the branches.
Yeah, it's kind of. but still you are trying to understand the human, so it's still important to yeah, I mean, at the end, you have to interact with people, right? I mean, all of us have to.
There's no option.
So, about that hesitation, I also experience it. But I sometimes face it, encounter it in a way that I just want to do. So, you know, it can be an improved skill. You can do it also.
Yes.
It's all about, I mean, taking help from people to overcome this thing. If you want to do, of course. So it's okay to be hesitated. It's okay to be introverted. It's really fine. But I think if you want to, especially be in the clinical area, it will be better to, you know, work with people, and also maybe the stigmatization. Maybe you can say. If you have this stigmatization of people, especially with people psychological disorders, let's say. You just cannot do this profession.
What do you mean? Actually, I don't understand. What do you mean?
I mean, for example, okay, stigmatization is like labeling people.
Labeling people.
Okay? So, you have a depression, so you just, you know, we cannot hang out with you because you have a depression like that. Or you have anxiety disorder. Like, it's normal. So, we label these disorders as anormal. So, these people have struggles with their social lives. So,
okay, I get it.
You know, as a psychologist, if you do this, it's impossible to do this profession. I'm just meaning that. Yeah, it's kind of like having, to like research, writing, reading. I mean, these skills, thesis skills is important, and also like human skills, interaction skills also important. But it doesn't mean that if you don't have that, you just cannot study psychology. No, it's not like that. These skills can be improved. I mean, for example, at the beginning, I was like at the high school even, I was like, okay, I'm good at listening to people, but I'm just not saying people to do this, you know, like I'm not giving any suggestions for them. So how can I be a psychologist? And my mom said that, yeah, okay, but you will learn, darling. So yeah, you're right. And I was like, yeah, okay, I will study psychology. So I'm really glad that I'm a psychologist right now. So it learned me a lot. It's like taught me a lot. I'm really happy.
You're really happy.
I'm really
Like, I feel happy as well when I heard someone who wanted to study a department and they are able to study the department and also finish it. And after they finish, they are happy about it. So it's amazing.
Yeah, of course, it has drawbacks.
Of course.
Well, you know, at the general picture, I'm happy.
Glad that you are happy. Okay, so I think this will be the last question for this interview. And this is a very general question. So, any advice that you want to give to other students when choosing their department? So this is more like a very general question. Like, if you went back to high school, you don't know which department you want to choose. What is your advice? What to do? On what to do?
Yeah, okay. The first thing I ask is searching beforehand, searching the profession, searching the fields. So, you know, like in a detailed search, I mean, like, okay, it's engineering, not that. Engineering, the parts of engineering. So, what do engineers do, and what skills engineers need to? And so these are the important things. And then you compare yourself. Okay, I can do this or I can do that. So you can consult the guidance counselor. Okay, maybe he or she can give you some tests about the career counseling, for example. So they can help you to decide the profession that you want to do. But in my situation, it just didn't work out. Like I did the tests,
You did
but
the test.
yeah, you know, like, but I guess I just did one test and it just didn't work out. So maybe it will be better to have other options as well. So, you know, other tests as well. And I also consulted a guidance counselor, but also it didn't work out. then later, as I said before, I was like, okay, I'm good at listening, but what do I do? And my mother responded me that you will learn. So actually that time was the peak. Like, okay, yeah, I can do that. And I just searched for other options. It was law, it was some teaching professions. So I learned that psychology has many options to work. So I stick with that. But I did. I made this decision at the middle of the high school. You know,
Middle
like
of the high school,
not
not
at
the last.
yeah,
Not the
yeah.
last year. Okay.
I think it's the most important.
Yeah.
Because I know, my sister also, my other friends, they were still struggling at the end. It really affects a lot. It affects your studying, it affects your motivation, right?
Yes.
It affects everything. So please decide beforehand. Please research beforehand. So like you can study with dedication. I mean, in the middle, I decided, and I will go with that. So I studied 2 more years. That I will study psychology. It was in my mind in those 2 years. So I think it gives you a motivation also, because you are like, okay, I'm gonna be a psychologist.
Like Askal'da.
Yeah, I can do it. I can do it. And hopefully I did do it. So it's I think important to know yourself better. Okay, So what do you do to know yourself? Like again, you can have some tests also, but read. Okay, read about psychological books, but not in a cliche books, but the books that really the writers of professors. Okay, so. Because these books have really important information to know yourself. Because, for example, it is a book called Reinvent Yourself, kinda. Maybe later I will talk
like
about
a personal
it.
development book?
Yeah, it's kinda. And also it is a subfield of clinical psychology actually. So it talks about schemas of human development, and it gives you many insights actually about yourself. So I think it's like reinventing yourself, or like, as I said, we will talk about it later.
I want to try to read the book as well.
So it helped me a lot actually. So it can be option, be having those books. And other than that, I mean, study with dedication, study with motivation. I know it's hard, it's really hard, especially in high school, it's really hard. But if you have a goal in your mind, it becomes clear, everything becomes clear. So you can try at least. I mean, even if you come to university, even if you want to do, let's say, psychology, but later that you become aware that, I just don't want to study psychology, but I just want to try anything else. It's possible, of course, but the life itself is a trying area, right? So you can try every time.
But still, since psychology has so many branches, I know you like psychology, but I think even though you like psychology, there are still branches which you don't really enjoy, I would say, based on that. Even though, let's say, the majority of it you like it, but I think it is normal if there are still some branches which you don't like. You think so?
Sure, of course. For example, we mentioned traffic psychology, right? We mentioned neuropsychology. I'm really not interested in those areas. And I don't have to like them at all. But as you mentioned, there are lots of fields and you can be expert of also. But in a way, it's better to have information about those areas, what it is. It's really good to know that field. So how they study for example, neuropsychology, right? It's really important area, I guess, because it's also related to many different areas as well, like advertising, etc. So you can, for example, take this information from the literature. I mean, you can be a developmental psychologist, you can be a clinical psychologist, but you can see the papers established in the neuropsychology.
Yes.
So it will be
It is still
better to like have an open mind, have a better options to look for what they do. So because still you are a psychologist, it doesn't mean that you're just one specific area psychologist, but because it has also lots of areas, it's also better to be specific as well. I mean, it kind of has two levels. So yeah, it's better to have to know what other branches do, but it's also important to be specific as well, because for example, okay, I'm just giving examples from myself.
Okay, of course.
Okay. So, for example, developmental psychologist. Okay, I talked with a developmental psychologist, and I asked her about a girl who has a clinical issues, frankly, and she said that she said some sentences. Okay, she said some sentences, but then later she said that it's not my specialization. I just cannot say more. And I was like, but you should know, right?
At least have an idea.
Well, I mean, I was disappointed at that time because I was thinking like, okay, developmental psychologist should know everything about children. But she said that no, it's not my area at all. So I am working with, for example, normal developmental children. It's really okay, it's fine. So, and she shouldn't have also, she shouldn't have to know the clinical area, yeah, it's alright. But, I was thinking that she should have known that. But no, yeah, it's up to people, I guess. Probably I will be eager to know the clinical things as well, especially in terms of children and their families, because I just want to specialize in that area. But it's okay to be just, stick with the normal children and study with them, work with them. It's okay also.
So you are saying that even though we must be specialized in one of the branches, we still need to have an idea, at least at the other branches as well. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And actually, if it's okay, I want to add one thing in this choosing department topic. I totally agree with you. We should start early. We should research early. Even as you said, you are very good. You decided on the second year. Like for me, I know from the beginning that I want to study engineering, but I have no idea which engineering I will choose because there are so many engineering branches. But for me, I think it was in the last year. So the teacher gave us a booklet, a table which lists like the name of the department and also what are you going to study there, like the topics are this much, and what is the prospect of the job. It's a very thick table, and I was like looking at it and it's like, civil engineering looks like the most suitable. Like maybe student can benefit from that as well if they have the access for it. And as you say, I totally agree with you. If those students can get an access for that since the beginning, like from earlier, it will be beneficial.
Yeah.
Okay, Tuğçe, thank you so much for the interview.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
it was really great for me too.
And your English is really good.
Thank you. Hopefully,
yes.
Practice.
So, I hope your plan, your future plan, your volunteering program will go well, and also you can go to Netherlands this year, next year. In the end, you will go. I hope. So,
I hope so.
Thank you so much, and good luck for your future career.
Thank you. Thank you for having me also.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you so much for watching, guys. So, if you have any other department that you are curious as well, I will try. Please just write in the comment, and I will try to figure out, ask someone to do the interview about it. So, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.